Hello, good evening, and welcome to Livestream Insiders. You know what? Here in the United Kingdom, in the peak of summer, you can go along to a local vendor, maybe a little van that comes down your street, maybe to a shop on perhaps the promenade or down the high street, and you can get a lovely cone of ice cream. And in the top of the cone, they put one of those chocolate flakes. They call it, in the UK and Ireland, a 99. I mention that because it's episode 99. But not only is it episode 99, so we're nearly into those triple figures, it's also another very exciting occasion because it's another anniversary for us. Hello. G'day, I'm Peter Stewart. This is Livestream Insiders, and my co-host is Krishna Day. Krishna, you've got the reason why it's our anniversary.
It is. It's our anniversary because 2 years ago we had our first live stream. So we are now, we can say, in our third year of broadcasting. I was writing something earlier today, Peter, and I think we're probably the only European show that I've come across that every single week, bar a couple of Christmas vacations, that we actually have live streamed every week consistently for the last 2 years. And as I said, we're now into our third birthday. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here. We do it for you. Our goal, our objective here at Livestream Insiders is to bring you the latest tools, technology, case studies, ideas for you to implement for your social media communications, for your marketing, for your employee engagement, or even for crisis management. And so thank you for being with us. For those of you, I know many of you have been with us on that full journey. You've seen us in terms of the changes that we've had. Peter, we've got a different format though this week. We thought because of this update, in terms of it being our anniversary, we're going to try and change things around a little bit. So maybe you want to tell people about what you've got in store for us in terms of, and what we'll be doing from this day forth.
Absolutely. So, of course, we've got the latest live streaming news. So the live streaming video news from the last 7 days in the next 30 minutes. I've started the clock to keep us a little bit on track. But also this week and every week, this episode and forthcoming episodes, we're going to be looking at some top tips for those people who are watching either live or the recorded version of Livestream Insiders. Some top tips about how to get started. And you know what? We're not necessarily going to be talking about, what button to press or things like that, because, of course, every handset is different, the layout is different, and the apps keep changing. It'll be, as we say here in the UK, like painting the fourth bridge. As soon as we get to one end, we'll have to start repainting or start giving those tips again. So what we're going to be doing is some more kind of production, presentation tips, some content tips, some creativity tips, and things like that. And so we thought this week we'll start on, well, really, your live streaming strategy. How do you start? What is it that you're going to be doing on your journey of live streaming? How are you coming up with those initial ideas? Maybe something that we're going to be looking at in subsequent weeks, but that germ of an idea. Why should you be live streaming in the first place? And of course, during that feature, we'll come to a little bit later on, as well as all the other bits of news and information that we're going to be talking about this week. We would love your input. We'd love your thoughts, your suggestions, your words of advice, your case studies, what you've done, what you've seen work pretty well elsewhere. But thanks very much indeed for watching. Patricia is there, who's eating some anniversary cake in our honour. Patricia, for me, make sure it is gluten-free. But apart from that, go ahead, fill your face. That's not a problem. I really appreciate your ongoing support. So let's talk about something which we touched on last week and which has had another update, which is rather intriguing, actually. And that is about the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Now, don't turn off. Don't think to yourself, yeah, well, they did talk about that last week. What on earth could be new? They talked about last week about how so many people were watching illegal streams and so many people were delivering illegal streams. Well, we do have a new update because a new article that we were reading this week from the Independent newspaper here in the United Kingdom was a headline that people may have illegally streamed Mayweather versus McGregor fight inadvertently. They didn't actually realise what it is they were doing. It's according to a new report which says that the illegal views of the fight were accessed by almost 3 million viewers, despite what we were saying last week about it kind of being a bit of a case of whack-a-mole, and the platform providers, through the people who had the copyright rights to stream the fight legally, trying to shut down those illegal broadcasts just as soon as they were identified and were picked up. Apparently, many people were watching those the fights illegally through social media, rather than through traditional sites. And as I say, this is an article through the independent.co.uk. And it says, according to the report, pirate stream providers are functioning more like full-fledged businesses, and they're becoming really, really professional. So therefore, people don't realise exactly the provenance of the material which they are watching. Quote, while content availability is key, it may have also inadvertently caused some consumers to choose an illegal service over a legitimate service due to confusion and clever marketing. There's been an increase in pirates creating professional websites, technology and services, fooling consumers into thinking they are accessing a legal service. And it clearly points to how business-savvy pirates have become, creating a formidable foe for legitimate service providers. Well, it was nearly $100, as I understand, to watch the fight on a legal service, so perhaps it's not surprising that so many people were trying to do something by the back door, or thought that it was their birthday or Christmas together at the same time when they saw what looked to be a legitimate site where they could watch something for free. But you know, Krishna, I was wondering where that leaves the viewer, because, obviously to stream that kind of content without the rights to do so is one thing, but where does that leave the viewer if they, well, A, knowingly watch something which is illegal, but B, as we're talking about there, they watch something which is being illegally streamed, but they don't realise it. And how do you prove that they don't when perhaps they should? It's going to be a minefield, isn't it? Interesting stuff. I wonder what the law... And of course, you may have different laws, regulations, guidelines in different markets, in different countries. So that's really going to be interesting to watch.
It's funny because last week we were talking about the fact that 3 million people in the UK alone had actually volunteered and said they were planning to watch an illegal stream. So I guess with all this kind of communication about it, it's going to keep people informed, and people know that, there is a payment that you have to make in whichever country you're in, really, for this being streamed. So it'll be interesting. Will there be a class action case taken against viewers watching content and posting it on their social media channels by the broadcasters? I think it's all about wait and see, isn't it? I'm sure we'll be talking about this for many times in the year ahead, Peter. But thank you, everybody, for joining us here live for Livestream Insiders. If you are joining us here on replay, we really appreciate you being with us as well. Now, this week, we've got lots of updates in terms of technology. I guess we really started to think about this last week. And every year, we've actually had an update about what you might put in your gift list if you're a live streamer or you've got people in your family who are live streaming. And we've started a bit earlier this year because of some of the updates that have been happening. And perhaps you want to bookmark these, because even sign up to the newsletters for these different platforms, because who knows, there might be Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals to be done, let alone Christmas deals as well. So the first one that we've actually got for you is, in fact, this is the first time this is the first camera that I saw streaming in 360, and somebody had it at an event a few years ago. And this is the Ricoh, and the Ricoh Theta V has now launched In fact, interestingly, they did a live stream. That's how I picked up about the update, because I saw there was a YouTube live stream that was being done about this update. Now, that wasn't in 360, but we'll have that as a link for you if you wish to go back and watch it in terms of see what was said at that launch. The things that obviously caught our attention is the fact that this is in 4K and it is offering 4K live streaming in 360. So that's certainly one to take a look at. If you have got one of these already, do let us know. We'd love to know what your thoughts are in terms of it as a camera. Now, what is it retailing for? It's retailing in US dollars for $429 US. So it might not be the top of your list in terms of, because there's a lot more options now of 360 cameras since this was first launched. And I think that it was the first of the cameras that was launched for a single shot back in 2013. I remember seeing it being used in events in about 2015. Anyway, so that's the first one we've got for you. The next one, I always like it when we can bring you some news about something that is from people that we know, and that's what we've got for the second update. And Insta360, we know and love the team from Insta360. I have an Insta360. Peter and I have both met the team when we were at MojoCon earlier this year, and they did a great job in really kind of getting us intrigued about what was launching, because they were putting out some amazing footage. You might have seen it if you're watching the Insta360 Facebook page or the other social media content. But it looked like this camera going around somebody and doing this aerial view of people. And they were trying to get people to guess of what do you think is coming. So they did a really good job in terms of piquing our interest. And so when we saw what was launched then, it's the Insta360 ONE. And it offers lots of new features. This one is retailing at $299 in terms of US dollars. A couple of things that in particular caught my attention about this was, firstly, it's actually changing the way that we might use 360 content, because you can film your 360 content and then afterwards you can actually create a video, or in fact you can create an image, and that image can be in 16:9, 4:3, or 1:1. So basically you can experience a 360, but then afterwards decide, actually I just want a regular video, I don't need a 360 video. And so that's just a really interesting option that you've got for you. Now, the other things, that's called free capture that they've launched there. But the thing that actually I was really interested in is that option to be able to, basically people were swinging it around their heads, and it's coming out with lots of different kind of add-ons, different features. So you can use this with the app, and you can also use it in terms of freestanding, and it's pretty small as well. So this is the one that's been launched for your iPhone at this point in time. And do check out their website for all of the spec and all the other features that they've got. But we just thought that was a really interesting update. And we love the team and the innovation that they're doing there in terms of the Insta360 ONE. So that's it for my bit of tech updates. I'm coming back a little bit later with some more updates in terms of platforms and tools that you might want to use.
Absolutely, thank you, Krishna. As she says, she's the tech guru of the setup here. So she's always got her finger on the pulse with all the latest gadgets and gizmos. And you know what? I've seen her Christmas present list for gadgets and so on, and it's about the length of a toilet roll. It is that long, all sorts of things that she is after. So I hope her family are very, very generous. We'll talk about someone who's been a guest on the show before. Certainly is often watching the show and has commented before, and that's someone that you probably may be aware of, and that is Mitch Jackson, who is a lawyer in the United States, and he posted an article during the course of the week, which we'll touch on quite briefly because he didn't go into huge details, but certainly it's another opportunity perhaps to talk about the kinds of things that you can get into trouble when you are doing a live stream, or indeed a recorded video, or indeed some kind of blog, or indeed a podcast. And frankly, certainly being this side of the pond, it probably shakes Krishna to her very soul, as it does me, about the amount of money that people can try and get out of you for misspeaking or for showing something perhaps that you shouldn't have done. And Mitch has been telling the story during the course of the week about who he calls a well-known social media influencer, no names, who went on live video and shared what they believe to be honest and truthful concerns about some kind of alleged wrongdoing of another influencer and business owner. And the whole idea of the stream was to highlight what allegedly or potentially had gone wrong. However, the subject, so not the person who streamed that, but the person they were talking about, then put in a defamation lawsuit of $5 million. And as I say, boy, oh boy, this side of the pond, that makes you really, really quake in your very boots. And the person who that lawsuit was filed against, so the original streamer, employed Mitch, and he was able to talk around the situation and get that reduced to absolutely nothing. And Mitch wrote, from the very beginning, we took the position that our client simply shared true and accurate facts, did nothing wrong, and would never pay a dime to settle the case. So certainly in this country, and I appreciate there are different laws in different markets and so on, of course, there is no defamation if what you've said is true. And it's also interesting to note, of course, that you don't have to actually sue in the market necessarily where you live or where the person who did the, shall we say, stream lives, because of course live streaming is worldwide. You can choose the court or the jurisdiction very often where you are likely to be more successful. There have been numerous cases in the print media where this has happened over the years, and in fact very often it is a UK court, in fact, which is more generous. And Mitch went on, my client and I believe the moral of this true story is never to be afraid to stand up for your rights. If you've done nothing wrong, draw a line in the sand, use the law to protect you, yourself, your family, your business and your community. And he says, avoid putting yourself in that situation in the first place. And as we've mentioned before, Krishna and I, over the last 2 years now, about knowing some basic legal rights, some guidelines about what you can and can't say, what you can and can't show. It's guarding against anything, particularly, of course, if you are perhaps doing some live streaming on behalf of a client or a business or a charity, and they presume that you know X, Y, and Z, and you presume that everything is has been agreed from their point of view as well, and they understand A, B, and indeed C. Between you, you're missing out perhaps the letters elsewhere in the alphabet, and that can lead to all sorts of problems. Whose fault was it? Who should have done due diligence? Who should have warned the other person about it? And of course, in those cases, it really is worth having a conversation, mapping out what your live stream is all about, what you're going to say, maybe do a dummy run of the interview, certainly a walkthrough of the business premises, perhaps to see what you're likely to be going on to show before you come unstuck. Anyway, if you want to read more about that, Mitch's blog is via streaming.lawyer, and that's where you can find all of the details. Not a .com or anything like that. The dot is the lawyer, so it's streaming.lawyer, and Mitch has all the details there.
And we'll have that in our curation that you'll be able to access later on. Now, I should also add to that conversation we had about that Mayweather and also McGregor fight, because another piece of content that I came across this week in terms of after that fight took place, and I know some of you here are actually producers of live streams, is that there's a company that's being sued for the failure of the delivery of the live stream. So there's lots and lots of different angles that you need to look at, and you need to have a counsel or a lawyer with you to actually have a look at those contracts if you're delivering live streaming services for other people. Okay, so I'm back with a couple of, in fact, it's 3 quick updates in terms of technology. Then we're going to have a tip for those of you who just started live streaming from Peter this week. And then we're going to wrap up with something that's going to help you attract more viewers to your live streams. We know that that's one of the challenges, and I'm pretty excited about a new tool that I discovered this week. So let's take a look at 3 quick updates. The first one is perhaps you don't have that $420-something budget for you in terms of experimenting with 360 content. Perhaps you don't have the $299 option that we actually talked about with the new cameras out this week. Well, couple of quick updates. One is that you might have noticed that you can actually do 360 video in your Facebook camera now. It is not full 360 because it doesn't capture the top, it doesn't capture the bottom. I really don't mind about that because, you know, you never know what people are wearing on their feet, but actually that's a great option that's available to us. But I was really excited about this next option, which is something that will turn your iPhone 7 into a 360 camera. Now, I did reach out to the developers and they said that they're working on other phones as well soon. But if you don't have an iPhone 7, or people you're going to look to buy for don't have an iPhone 7, this, I'm afraid, will not work for you. But it's called the No Matter What camera. I thought it was quite an interesting name that they've given it. They're taking pre-orders by the 22nd of September. And what is it retailing for? You might want to have a guess. Type it in the comments and I'll tell you at the end of this segment. And Peter, you can get ready and tell me what people have said and I'll let you know what it is. But at the end of these 3 tips, I'll come back and ask what you think it would be. In fact, what would you be prepared to pay for a gadget to attach onto your iPhone 7 to turn it into a 360 camera if you don't want to pay $300+ US dollars? Okay, the second thing that we've got for you is Peter and I cannot see this. So those of you, I know we've got lots of people who watch us here live and also on the replay who are in the US. You are now in for that great treat of Facebook Watch. Did you notice this? So this rolled out a couple of days ago if you're in the US. We talked about Facebook Watch early on in August when it was first announced. And we talked about how you could actually look to submit your own shows. Now, of course, the first shows that are rolling out are really celebrities and people that there's a contract in place with. But somebody who's a friend of mine, I actually saw him drop me an email about the fact that his Facebook Watch shows up, and that's Guy Kawasaki. In fact, just about this time last year, he actually introduced us to to Blue Jeans, I should say. And he was somebody who actually was on a live stream with Blue Jeans. And that's how I discovered Blue Jeans. I think that's how you discovered as well, Peter. Anyway, the key thing here is Facebook Watch has now rolled out in the US, and you should actually see it. It's actually quite a prominent place in your app to be able to have a look at that. So do let us know what you're thinking of the shows that are already there on the platform. Okay, so the third thing I've got for you is Blue Jeans have updated their pricing. So for those of you who've been a little bit worried about how can I do live streams to Facebook, how can I do it inexpensively, and also how can I get an HD recording? One of the reasons that we love Blue Jeans is the fact that we can here share our screen, we can share images like this. If we wanted to, we can share videos. So when Peter's away, he's away for a month. Can you believe it? He's leaving me for a month very shortly. So we've been talking about maybe we actually have some segments from his trip abroad, and he might be able to share some things with us. But we could actually share that actually by video. in terms of in Blue Jeans. We choose not to do that on our weekly shows. But the key thing here is, what is it going to cost you? Well, you actually might have seen there when I shared that image that in fact it's priced from $12.49 per host per month, and that allows you to do Facebook live streams. However, if you want to be able to also capture the HD recording, you're going to need to pay a little bit more. Now, this is a monthly price if you're paying on an annual contract, so you may actually want to just check out what that fee is in terms of for a month by month. You do get a 30-day free trial, and the price now is $16.66 per host per month. That allows you 75 people to come into your meeting room, and if you want to do Facebook live streaming, you can do that, and you also get 10 hours of content. So one of the things, just to let you know, that we do is we capture, providing I remember to turn the recording on, we capture an HD recording every time we live stream here with Blue Jeans, and that's what we use to repurpose into other content, be that in terms of an audio podcast or video content as well. So if the cost of live streaming to Facebook Live has been putting you off with all the other platforms around, I highly recommend you check out our friends here for Blue Jeans, and that's the tool that we use every single week. That's it for me in terms of my tech updates. I've got one more for you at the end of the show, but I did say to you, Peter, just check. Has anybody guessed? Or in fact, what would you be prepared to pay in terms of actually having a device, a little gadget that will fit onto your iPhone 7? What do you think that you'd be prepared to pay? Or what was anybody else happy to pay?
Well, if only I had an iPhone 7, although I am thinking perhaps when they upgrade to or they announce the iPhone 8, which of course is later on this month, then I'll nip up to the iPhone 7. Always a little bit behind the times, me. But we've had messages from Zeph and Sabrina and Patricia and Trevor as well. Thanks very much indeed, everybody, for watching. And we've got some ideas of $139 or £200 or $99. So you've got to do a quick conversion rate, but actually quite a wide variety there. I actually know the answer. You're shaking your head. What is it?
I feel like Santa Claus. You're going to love us. $39.95. $39.95. Boy, get that pre-order in, guys. I don't know what's going to happen after the 22nd of September, but if you got an iPhone 7, for that price, it probably is worth checking it out. I mean, you can't buy a Starbucks every day of the month for for $39.95, can you? Okay, and I don't even get paid to say it, and I don't have an iPhone 7, so I'm not testing it. But anyway, I hope that's made some people happy today. Maybe that's a good thing to put on your Christmas list, but get that pre-order in by the 22nd.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's quickly then do our tip of the week, and also a bit of a shout out for a gentleman by the name of Justin Stowers, who thought he would like to do a little bit to raise some money for the flood victims of Texas, and he was just going to go on Facebook Live and try and get a couple of $100. And he said that it blew up into something extraordinary, man. That was his quote. Instead of going on for just a few minutes, he stayed on for 4 hours. He just answered comments, and he'd told people to donate all that they could. And he had nothing planned. He was just talking. He was riffing. He was going with the flow. There was no script. And he was saying that he was just essentially just trying to encourage people to donate all of the time. He wanted to raise $200, and he actually raised $20,000 over a 4-hour program. So congratulations and well done to him. Okay. We've got some angry faces there. What's going on? Why have we got angry faces, Krishna? Let's look at then some top tips for this week. And this week I thought we'd start off, which seems to be a good idea, about talking about your live stream strategy. You know what? So many people do think to themselves, oh, I've got to start doing a live stream. I've got to get on Facebook Live. Periscope, that's where I've got to be. I've got to make sure that's something I do over the next few weeks or the next few months. And they dive in, and then they wonder why perhaps it's not working for them. They perhaps wonder why it is that they don't have much engagement. They wonder why they're spending so much time on it. They wonder perhaps why they're losing money because their eye is off the ball on other things. So what I would say is, before you start live streaming, first of all, think about your live streaming strategy. What is your overall goal? What is it about live streaming that you think is going to take you from where you are now to where it is you want to be? How are you going to be using this new platform of live and of video to make that actual transition to get from A to B? And as part of that conversation with yourself, probably actually worth writing it down and having that conversation with other people as well. Work out who it is that you're actually going to be targeting. And when you've worked out that, try and work out, therefore, what are you going to be doing that's going to be of value to them? What is it that they're going to learn from your live streams? What is it that they've got a problem is that is going to be solved by watching your live stream? So what's the benefit going to be to those viewers? And also, what's the benefit going to be to you? So it may be perhaps to boost your brand recognition, or it may be to drive traffic to another platform, or to your website, or to your actual bricks and mortar store. So you could do that. So think about the value to other people, the value to you as well, because frankly, if there's only one of those two groups with who's getting value, then it's not much cop. You probably are wasting your time a little bit. And also something which a lot of people don't do, and I've looked around and I just can't believe they do, because some of the live streams are pretty ropey, and that is analyze the live streams of your competitors. Have a little look around, see what other people are doing in your marketplace, either geographical marketplace or your business marketplace, ideally perhaps in another part of the country or another part of the world, and work out what it is that they are doing, and look at things like their content, the time they go on, the regularity they go on, the duration of their live streams, what kind of engagement they have, as well as the content, and then work out what ideas you can steal from them, what it is that you could do differently, or what it is, more crucially, that you could do better than them. So merge, mix, mesh, all of those different ideas, and that will perhaps start you on your journey to some fantastic live streams. Krishna, back to you for the end of the show.
Okay, so I was really excited to come across this new app. And I came across it because I'm pretty active on Product Hunt. And I know that some of you are active on Product Hunt too. So this is probably one of the best free things that's been released this year, in my opinion, so far. We've still got a few months to go to the end of the year. But I'd be interested in terms of, what do you think is the best free solution that's been given to you as a live streamer? And I'm talking free. Okay, so let me know in the comments, and we'll take a look a bit later, so Peter can check out the comments and for us, just to see what you think has been the best free solution in 2017. The tool I'm talking about today, though, is called StreamTimeApp.tv. StreamTimeApp.tv. And why is this something that we're going to be interested in? Well, it's been developed by two people who actually hail from the UK, but they're actually got some startup funding, and one of them is currently based in Hamburg. I've been in conversation with him in the last couple of days to learn a little bit more about the tool. But effectively, this currently works on desktop and also for iOS. If you don't have an iPhone, which is what you need to get your account started with them, and I'll come on to what the benefits of the account in a moment, but you actually do have a workaround, so you can reach out to them and they can get you set up, because the Android app is not yet ready. What does the app do? So we're talking about StreamTimeApp.tv. StreamTime's been around a few months, and it's looking to solve a problem of a marketplace for us to go as viewers to be able to see all of the live streams that are going on anywhere. And basically, this came about because of a problem that they'd identified. In fact, one of the developers, Trevor, likes a UK football team Some of you might know them, called Tranmere Rovers. And he always missed out on the live streams that they were doing. They really liked the live streams that were happening. He missed out on them because they didn't really do much publicity about it. It wasn't always scheduled at a certain time each week, unlike how we do our show the same time every single week, and you know where to find us. And so he was looking to solve a problem. So he and somebody else who actually he'd known of for some time, Joel, they'd actually worked together for 3 years with some big brands in mobile content creation, and they came up with the idea of, could they create a platform where people could go to? Because I know, for example, Jen, who watches this show, uses Twitch, and I know that some of you, in terms of actually streaming over to YouTube, and some are using Facebook, and a friend of mine, Rebecca, constantly streams over on Periscope. So it's pretty fragmented, and it's only going to get bigger. And so their idea is broadcasters will be able to publish their content in the app. They'll be able to say, this is when we're going live. And then we as consumers can go into the app. We can put in our keywords, the topics that we like. We can discover broadcasters, and we can also then subscribe, and we can set the notification up of, do we want to know 2 minutes through to 60 minutes before somebody goes live. Now, for those of us streaming on Facebook, this is great, because unless you're using a tool, for example, like Wirecast, like vMix, like BeLive, when you go live on Facebook, and in fact here on when I'm using Blue Jeans, when I'm using Blue Jeans, or I'm going live just personally on Facebook, actually there is no notification. I can't actually put something up other than, saying I'm going to be going live in a short while. Because if you're using some of the other pro tools, you actually can have something where people can gather, they can actually say subscribe to it. Now, I do know there's some mixed views about whether that has really been beneficial in terms of gathering an audience or not. But I really like the fact that now you could actually put your shows there. So because Livestream Insiders streams basically every single week at the same time, I've scheduled my shows with a click of a button for the whole year, for the next 52 weeks. So if you went over and you subscribed to me, so I put it in there under my name, and so if you subscribe to me, you'll be able to get a notification. And then if you wanted to make sure that you knew when we were live, and then you can also, if I put in other shows, let's say my Talking Social Business shows, you'll be able to subscribe to those. It's completely free for us to use. You also get a little widget that you can put on your website. So I put that on my Livestream Insiders page. I put it on an article I've written all about the app, about how to get started in using it. So again, you actually can cross-promote it. They actually did work with that football team, Tranmere Rovers. And in fact, in a stream that they did earlier on this year, in about May time, they increased the number of viewers basically by using this app. And they increased it by 20%. That's their little case study. So firstly, I'm excited that it's built by people in Europe. I always love that. We like to support, everybody, but it's always nice because we're here in Europe that we like to support European developers. I like it that the fact it's solving a problem for consumers who actually want to find live streams to watch, and also for us as broadcasters, because we want to be able to promote it, our live streams, and also attract an audience. And I know we haven't talked about that platform called Blab, which closed more than a year ago now, but that was one of the things that people really loved about Blab, was the fact that it had this discoverability. The platforms are just going to continue to explode. We talk about it every single week. And so having a platform there that people can go to and actually subscribe for things that they're interested in. The team have got lots more that they're planning. You can read all about it over on my site at krishna.me. We'll have a link in the notes. But I just highly recommend, let's go support a startup. Let's go and help these guys get it off the ground. Tell people about it. Tell them you heard about it here on Livestream Insiders. But it's free. All it's going to cost you is a little bit of time of creating that app, in terms of actually getting onto the app and creating your account. And remember, if you've got an Android device, they'll create that account for you. Go to their website. They'll even do you walkthroughs. But in the meantime, I've created a little video tutorial. I've also created a screen capture in terms of lots of screenshots tutorial, which I hope will get you going. If you are live streaming, I see no reason for us not to use this app. If you like it as much as I do, go tell your friends. I hope this is going to help you. So what are other people thinking? For me, this is one of the best developments for free for live streaming this year. What's anybody else think, Peter, in terms of what's their favorite development for 2017 that's been free for live streamers?
Well, you know what? Let's just have a little look down and to see what people are talking about. And lots of thumbs up as well. So thank you so much indeed for your comments and for watching. Sabrina and Barb, of course, as well, and Patricia and some other people. For some reason, I can't actually scroll all the way down. Oh, Eileen is there as well. So thank you so much indeed. But some of the comments have actually been lost on my stream that I'm watching there. But thank you so much indeed for watching, for you contributing, and for the comments and for the emojis as well during the course of our anniversary show, our 2-year anniversary show. Thank you indeed for taking part and for supporting us over the last couple of years. Episode 99 is the big 100 to watch, and for us to have the great pleasure to present and produce in 7 days from now, live stream Insiders with me, Peter Stewart, and Krishna Day. Thanks very much indeed, and have a fantastic week ahead.